Hey, Chandler Bolt here, and in this video I'm going to talk about how to write a great book description and how to format it better. Okay, so how to make your book description look better on Amazon so that you sell more books. So you're almost to the point of publishing your book. Congratulations. First off, let's stop and celebrate all the progress that you've made so far. But you're probably stuck in a moment of terror right now because you've got to write that dreaded book description. And maybe you're thinking, oh, I'm not good at marketing. I'm not good at sales. Like, how do I write something that's compelling, that's interesting? I don't even know what to include in the book description. Like, what does this process look like? So my goal is in this video to teach you how to write a book description that converts. Because let me tell you, your book description plays a huge part in the conversion of your book page on Amazon. And as we always say, it's like people are going to click into your page and they're going to stay for 15 seconds and leave, or they're going to stay for a minute and a half and buy. So the job of your book description is to keep them on that page. All right. So I'm going to dive into that in this video, talk about how to write a good one, but this is going to make a huge difference when it comes to the sales of your book. Now, once I go through the mechanics of like, actually, what does it take to write a good book description? How do you do it? All those things. If your book description does not look good, so if it's not formatted well, then that too isn't going to work, right? No one wants to read a huge block of text or a huge page that has just nothing but text and words and no line breaks, no bullets, no bold, no font. So we're going to talk about the end. How do you format your book description well? So your book description, or really your whole Amazon page, is a sales page for your book. So here's what usually happens. So people are scrolling through Amazon, maybe they're browsing categories, or they're looking around, maybe they're looking at the customers also bought. And so the job of your title, your subtitle, and your cover is to get them to click into the page, okay? Think of that kind of like the billboard for your book. It's saying, hey, click me and find out more. Now, once people click into that book, they're gonna do a brief scan. They're going to read the first couple sentences of the book description. And then if it's interesting, they're going to click expand. They're going to read more. If it's not, or sometimes even if it is, they're going to scroll down. They're going to look at editorial reviews, and then they're going to look at actual customer reviews. And you've probably done this yourself, so you know exactly how this goes. As you pop around, you scroll around, and you make that buying decision. If you stay and you stick around, the longer you stick around, the better chance you are that you're going to buy that thing, especially if it's a book. You know, it's $5, $15. So the job of your book description, and a good book description, is to catch attention. Okay, we want to grab attention. And now that someone's clicked into this listing, we want to pique their interest with the first sentence. Now, this brings me to one of my favorite copywriting principles of all time. Now, copywriting, if you haven't heard of it, I don't mean like copywriting a book. I mean, copywriting is salesmanship in print. So how do you write words that sell? And that's really what the book description is. So one of my favorite concepts in copywriting is Joe Sugarman's. He has this concept called the slippery slope, which he says, if you're writing a sales page or anything like that, the job of the first line is to get someone to read the second line. The job of the second line is to get them to read the third line. The job of the third line is to get them to read the fourth line, and so on. So you want to kind of create this, what he calls a slippery slope, is where you're following, you're so interested, you've read writing like this, and a lot of good fiction authors, they naturally write well, and it's compelling, it's interesting, and all those things. But you've read stuff like this where you're like, oh man, I've got to see the next thing. I've got to see the next thing. I've got to see the next thing, right? So that's your job in this book description, is to pique their interest right away. Now, how do you do that? Well, a lot of times you can ask a question, or you make a provocative statement, or it's something that's interesting and curiosity inducing, okay? So you're piquing someone's interest and you're getting them to read more. Now think about this, and this is kind of an overarching copywriting principle. People do not care about you, they only care about themselves, okay? Repeat that after me. People do not care about you, they only care about themselves, all right? So the last thing you want to do is, I wrote a great book, or start talking about yourself, start talking about
the author Chandler Bolt talks about.
Who cares, right? So I might instead say, hey, have you ever stared at the dreaded blank Word doc? That blinking cursor just taunting you? You want to beat your head into the keyboard because you're so frustrated? You've dreamed about writing a book for years, maybe even decades, and you just can't seem to get it done? Well, this is the book for you, right? I'm pulling them in and I'm saying, okay, in this book, I'll talk about not only how to beat that dreaded blank page syndrome, but also how do you get the rough draft done? How do you write your book in as little as a weekend? Then now you got the book written, how do you actually get it published? And then beyond that, how do you market that book successfully, right? So what I'm doing is I'm speaking to the emotion that they are feeling in that thing. So I'm speaking to the pain, but I'm also speaking to the benefit. Now, these are two things that I really want you to key on, because if this is, if you're writing this, especially for a nonfiction book, this is super important. So you're speaking to the pain, and copywriting, what you talk about, like twisting the knife. It's like you really want them to feel that pain, right? And that's what I did. And you notice when I did that, just off the cuff, thinking about a book description, I'm talking instantly to the pain, and it's relatable pain, and it's a pain that they've experienced. It's a pain that they care about. It's a pain that they want to go away, right? And so I'm kind of twisting the knife. I'm going into that pain, and then I'm flipping it around, and I'm doing the benefit statement. Now, sometimes you might start a book description with a benefit statement. Like, have you ever wanted to book cheap flights and travel anywhere? Well, I might use that and go into, if my book was about, cheap budget travel or something like that, right? So I might start with pain, or I might start with the benefit, but either way, I need to include both. So once you've spoken to the pain, you've spoken to the benefits, you've got to give a reason why they should buy the book right now. Okay, so you talk about that in your book description, and then you give a call to action at the end. Okay, so this is all leading towards buy the book. And then you might add social proof, right? So then there's reviews, or there's testimonials, or there's all those things. These are kind of the fundamental psychological triggers, but it all starts with a curiosity-inducing headline or first line. And again, the job of the first line is to get them to read the second line. Job of the second line is to get them to read the third line, and so on and so forth. So there's a couple things that'll help you further, and then let's get into actually formatting the book description once you've got it written. If you followed our 8-step intro checklist and you wrote a good introduction for your book, a lot of times a book description is a simplified introduction, right? In a lot of cases, the introduction, it speaks to the pain, it speaks to the problem, it speaks to the benefit, it speaks to why you're going to enjoy the book, all those things. We kind of got our 8-point checklist. But that, a lot of times you can kind of synthesize that down, and you may have already written your book description, you just didn't know it. So if you have that written, and especially if you wrote that using our checklist and kind of using our process, go to that, and that's going to be a really good first place to start. Now, secondly, there's a really great book called Influence by Robert Cialdini. I highly recommend it. It's the psychological triggers of persuasion. It's really, really, really good. It's one of my best marketing books of all time, favorite marketing books of all time. I think you'll really like that, and it's going to help you not only write a good book description, so maybe you don't have time to read it right now, but it'll help you in anything that you do from a marketing perspective. And then the third thing is to read great book descriptions. Right? If you're struggling with how do I come up with a good one, read some examples of other great book descriptions of top-selling books. Now, the last thing, kind of a bonus tip that I want to mention here, is test different book descriptions. So just know that this is not a static thing, and that's the amazing thing about self-publishing is that you can test different ones and see if the conversion of your page and your book sales go up. So I would test different book descriptions just like you're going to do the exact same thing if you run Amazon ads. So Amazon ads, you've got one sentence, maybe two sentences, and you've got to clearly communicate an idea, again, pain, benefit, that sort of thing. So in a similar way that you're going to be thinking about writing a good book description, if you choose to do Amazon ads, it's going to be the same thing. And just like I would test Amazon ads in different hooks, different sentences, different things like that, a lot of times I will test also my book description. Now, here's the cool thing. If you're doing Amazon ads, that's kind of a high velocity way that you can actually see what resonates with people more. So I might test that in an Amazon ad and then take the best converting hook and change that into my book description. So there you have it. That's how to create a good book description. So how to write a book description that converts. Now I'm going to pass the mic to Bella on my team. She's going to walk you through a screen share and show you actually how to format and do good formatting for your book description. Because again, if you have the best book description in the world, but it's just a big old block of text, it's not going to convert. You need to think about how will people read this and how can I actually format it in a way that leads to that slippery slope, right? They're reading the headline because it's grabbing attention. You're using header tags, you're using bold, you're using italics and all those things. And so how do you format it well so that it flows, and also for what we call dual readership path, So some people are going to read every single word. Some people are going to just skim the most important things. So how do you make sure that you appeal to both audiences? Bella is going to be walking through how to format this well in the video. So let me pass the mic to Bella.
Bella here. As promised, we're going to go over your description and really how to format it in order to give it this type of appearance where it has kind of those eye-catching moments. There's something bolded, italicized, there's headings, all sorts of that stuff. Because what you might not know is that when you first upload or you type in your description into Amazon, what you'll end up getting is something that's very much like this. So it's kind of just some blocks of text. And as Chandler explained, that's not really eye-catching. So what you want to do and what your purpose is really to get people to open this and read more. So you really only have a couple of different lines in order to do that. And really how you'll do that is the way that you format it. Now, as you can see in Chandler's here, there's a really big title, like write your book now. And this is something that you want to pull people into. And because that's so large, it catches your eye when you first appear on this page, right? This is even bigger than the title itself. So you want people's eyes to go here because this is your sales tool on the description page. So you want people to click this. And when you get into here, you can see that Chandler has a couple different things formatted. So he's got the bolded here. He's got this other heading here. He's got the list items. And so forth. But how do you get there? How do you actually do that when what you're really given is kind of just the ability to create paragraphs? So we're going to go into that, and I'm going to show you a few tools and ways in which that you can do that. So first things first is that in order to turn something like this into a formatted piece like this, you're going to have to do some HTML, which sounds a little bit scary, kind of sounds like coding. I understand, but what we're gonna walk you through what you can do and how you can transform your text with HTML. Because as you upload to into Amazon, you're gonna have to start using those things if you want to build this out. It doesn't just give you the option to transform it this way. So first things first, let's take a look at some of the rules. So we have a blog post all about this that you can check out. But really it kind of goes through what these different items do, what these different items are, and what they do. So if you want a bold text, you're going to wrap text within something like this. So what you'll end up doing is, as you see areas of opportunity, you're going to use these different items in order to transform that text. And the way you do this is by starting with this type of opening tag, and then you will close it with a slash, a dash, and then this again. And we will go into what this actually looks like in an actual paragraph. So let's get into that, since, you know, sometimes seeing is easier for you. So first, we're going to figure out, let's take this description and let's put it into a doc so that we can format it ourselves. So the first thing I see here is this first line is it's powerful. Money is a major influence in how one lives or operates and what one does. So from there, if we want this to be a different heading, if we want it to be this large heading, what we're going to end up doing is creating something that has the heading tag. So you have the heading options from H1 through H6. The lower the number, the larger the heading. So if we want that H1 heading, we're going to go into, and we're going to do H1 here. And then when you want it to stop, so you put at the beginning of what you want it to look, where you want it to be applied to. And then at the end, what you're going to do is apply that. And that will give you that heading line. And so let's kind of, unfortunately, we can't really see what this exactly looks like, but we can see that when we do this, when we upload it, when we change it to Amazon, it's going to look like this when it comes out. If you wanted to create something where there was a list view, so if there's a view like this, how do we create this in HTML in order to do that yourselves? So first, let's take a look at this. So what you're going to end up doing, if you want a bullet list, you're going to create a bulleted list from the enclosed items, each of which is identified by LI. So what you're going to do is you're going to create this opening tag first as UL, and then you're going to do another opening tag as LI, and each list item you will close off with a -LI closing tag. So let's go into that because it's a little bit confusing, I understand. So if we're going to take this plain description, let's add a couple bullet points to this and get a feel for what that looks like. Because what you're going to end up seeing is that essentially the coding that you'll upload to Amazon will be a big block of text. But for this sake, so we can understand, let's kind of break it up a little bit. So first things first, this is just a plain item, so you don't need to add anything here. But right after that, what you want to do is you want to put that the UL there, and then let's start off with a list item. And so let's say you're going to learn to view money as, let's see, something you can control. And then you're going to do that same kind of opening bracket, but then you're going to do the backslash, li, and then closing bracket. And then right away, you can create another one. So if you're going to do another list item, you just repeat it all right next to each other. So you'll learn to view money as, let's just say an asset. These are all just examples. I'm not really sure if that's what this book is about. Just a disclaimer there. And then you will do that. So each time you do this, what's going to end up happening is this will appear as this when formatted. It will actually appear as the bullets here. So this is what this coding is, what this kind of defines it as. And if that's all you want in your list items, you're going to do those closing brackets too. So something you want to remember is that every time you open a bracket here, there has to be something closing it on the other end. So let's say you want this first line bolded. What you would end up doing is creating this, the B. So kind of going back to that guideline, the B is bold. And if you want just that line that way, you're going to do this and kind of close off that bolding as well. And so you can create multiple. So let's say you want this to be italicized. What you're going to do in this coding is you're going to do first the list item, and then you're going to do the italicizing marks, the italicizing brackets. And what that is right here. So we have the I. So let's just do a simple I, close, and then what you're going to do is you're kind of reverse these. So whatever order this is in, you're going to close them in the opposite. So since this I is closest to the phrase, or closest to the sentence, we're going to close it off there. And then the next one will be the list item and the next one. And then since we're kind of going in the next list, it starts again. So if that sounds a little overwhelming to you, we do have our friend Dave Chesson over at Kindlepreneur who has this really great tool that can kind of do this for you and create the coding based on your own editing. So let's just take a look at this paragraph that we copy and pasted here. And let's figure out how we want to format it. So let's say you want this to be italicized. Hit italic. Let's say we want a numbered list in here. In this book, you'll learn. Hit that enter. Create a bulleted list. You can create all of your, any of the things that you want there. You can also add things in here. So if you want to have like a paragraph, a couple of paragraphs as an opening, and then you want to list, 5-star reviews and then actually do some sort of quotation. This book is amazing. Someone. So this is something that you can do as well. And then you can italicize this. You can underline this. You can make the heading a little bit smaller in this whole section. As you can see, there's a lot of different things that you can do within this tool. And then all you have to do, and I don't actually like this, let's see how we can separate this a little bit more. There we go. So you'll have to mess around and see what works, what doesn't in that sort of way. But as you can see, how money is cool. And what you can end up learning through this is create this text as normal as well. Yeah, so it's not so bolded. So if you do want things to stand out, you can hit bold here if you want certain items to stand out. And then all you're going to have to do is hit generate my code. And it pops up just like this. So it'll set stuff for you as well. And then you can just copy the code and paste that directly in. Now, this is a really helpful tool. We do think it's really important that you understand the way that the HTML coding works, because if you want to create the same thing across different platforms, you're going to want to know how these things work. So this is a great guide. We'll have this blog post in the description for you guys. And so you can go to it, learn, figure it out, and try your own hand at it. And ultimately, you may have to tweak it a little bit, see what works for you. Try doing it in kind of a Google Doc format, or you can do it directly on Amazon. But what you want to do is end up with something that has moments of really clear formatting, so the eye is drawn to the things that people care about. So as you can see, Chandler, write your book now, writing a book, blank page to publish author. in Published You'll Find, and kind of highlighting and italicizing the things you want people to stand out so that it draws the eye more, it pulls them down this page, and hopefully they read the whole thing and choose to buy. Hopefully that was helpful. Thanks, guys. Good luck with your books.
So there you have it. That's how to write a great book description and also how to format your book description. And doing both is going to help you sell a whole lot more copies of your book, okay? So what I'd love for you to do right now is scroll below this video and comment with your biggest takeaways. Also, we've got kind of a full blog post that's going to go more in depth on how to write a great book description, also how to format a book description. You know, a lot of this is kind of technical, and so it'll go a little bit into the weeds and like how do you use header tags, all those things. So definitely check out that blog post. And if you're interested in learning more about how to write and publish a book, check out our free training. So this is a 45-minute training. I'll make a bold promise and say that this will be the best 45 minutes that you'll ever spend on your book. It's going to be great. So whether you're trying to get your book published or whether you're trying to sell more books, we've got some great training. All you have to do is go to spsfreetraining.com. Okay, go to spsfreetraining.com, register for that free training, and I promise you won't be disappointed. And I'll walk you through the process on how to get your book written and published, or how to sell more books. So thank you so much for watching this video. Once again, scroll below this video right now. I'd love to hear your comments and your takeaways. What was your biggest takeaway in terms of writing a great book description or in terms of formatting your book description in a way that sells? Let me know. Or is there anything that we missed? So is there anything that you do well, or maybe a format or formula that you follow to write a great book description? Scroll below. Comment on this video. We read and respond to just about every single comment. So I can't wait to hear your thoughts. And also, as always, click the like button and click the subscribe button. So subscribe to this channel and also to the Self-Publishing School podcast. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Talk soon.